cancel them out. You don't need to sort of go through all of that hassle and problem. It's just a matter, I guess, of dealing with them in the right way and sending back to Caesar what belongs to him.
Exactly right. And as we talked about before, this is a very, very big rabbit hole. And, I think we're both on the same page when we say no one should be trying to do this alone, and no one should be sending out any documents to the government without them being checked by someone from the group. And
yeah, absolutely. Because you can get yourself in all sorts of trouble if you do that. You have to know who you are, where you stand, and you also have to know if you've got any invisible contracts that you didn't know about. That you're, it's no good. It's no good sort of claiming the dole and then complaining against the government. It's as a lot of people do. I'm thinking, why the hell are you arguing? I mean, you're a child of the state, and you're like a little child complaining. I didn't get my, toy.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
You've got to have your foot in one camp or the other.
With learning more about this information, there's people in different states, and I know there's someone on the Sunshine Coast that is very, very well informed. I won't say his name here, but I will say that you can speak to us in the Freeman area of the forum, and if you want to go to the Sunshine Coast and speak with this gentleman, I can organise that. There's also another group that I'm involved with here in Perth. I'm not sure if you are speaking to people one-on-one where you are, Thomas. Do you do that?
In the last few weeks, I've actually gone from doing this completely alone for the last 6 years to being contacted by probably all of the leaders who are doing this in other states and other places. Yeah. And so we're now every day nearly I get sort of emails from them sort of either asking questions or offering information. So we're kind of doing a bit of an information exchange here and there to get all of ourselves up to date with what the rest of us have been doing. Because you see, there's no manual on this. There's no sort of information manual that you can actually go out and say, right, well, okay, step one, what do I do? And so we're creating those things, and it's taking time because we've mostly been concerned with doing it for ourselves or doing it for our friends and family, and not really concerned so much with, I think, teaching it to the masses,
No, you're right.
And so what we're doing now is preparing, I guess, a bit of a start of the manual. It's a little bit like getting an old VCR from the 80s and trying to work out how it works.
I'm sure, as you've said, you've spent countless years getting to this point, and it's still going to be an uphill battle, but we will make it, and I'm very, very sure of that, especially with the partnerships that are around the state now and the people that are involved with this. We've got some amazing minds on the case, yours, and countless others that I've met already that are forming together, and as you said, you were doing it alone. Now you've got people that are throwing you this information. The collective consciousness can only help us figure this out.
Yeah, that's right.
1 second. What is your reality? You're on the line. Hello.
All right, this is actually Eric. This is I'm out in Seattle, Washington, in the U.S. Got a friend who's actually been involved with this for quite a while as well, and some of the questions I put it in the forum as well, but I'll just read it real quick here. Where'd it go? So about the I guess the UCC filing. So I know that how this goes about or in the U.S. might be very different than in Australia, but
yeah.
I really don't know too many of the details there. But basically the affidavit process and declaration of made by one who owes a duty is equivalent to a slave proclaiming that he's free. Without consent and recognition of the master, there's no true freedom. Anyone can claim what they want, but if it's challenged, the burden of proof lies on the one who made the claim. Could you comment on this? And then I guess there's an atgpress.com website, which has got quite a bit of information. So I don't know if you can maybe comment on that.
Okay, I'll do my best for you. The UCC is the Uniform Commercial Code in America, and we don't really have the UCC here, although the UCC kind of operates under Admiralty jurisdiction, so I guess in a sense you could say that the UCC does exist here, but we don't sort of have that exact same system. We do have something called a UCCC, which is a kind of a similar thing, but I think the wording is different. We're actually still trying to work out the equivalent of that here in Australia. I mean, basically, we're the same thing. If you're looking at Canada, I mean, Canada and America are different because Canada is the same as Australia. You know, it's a British colony. But essentially, you know, the UCC1 in America, people are using that in the Strawman movement to basically file a notice that they're the master of their strawman, and so they're actually filling out these documents, which is like a security agreement. And so they're creating a security agreement not only over the strawman and taking control of it, but all of the things that the strawman owns. You know, and that's your wife, family, possessions, whatever it is. You know, these lists I've seen are huge. And so the UCC Form 1 is one of the ways that they found in America to basically become the secured creditor or secured party over the strawman. And then, as you were talking about affidavit, that is true. Like an unrebutted affidavit stands as truth. And just going back to what I was talking before about controversy and claims, it's absolutely right. If you make a claim, the onus or the burden of proof is upon you, isn't it? Because you know, I can say to Adam, well, Adam, why did you beat my wife? You know, Adam, why did you beat my wife?
I didn't realize it did, but I apologize.
No, so it's very easy to enter the controversy. Because if you said to me, I didn't beat your wife, all of a sudden you're actually a party to that controversy, you see. So, and that happens in court a lot. You know, anyone who's watched Night Court or Judge Judy or any of those, and you see that people just dig their own hole all the time. They enter the controversy instead of rebutting the presumption.
Yeah. So by me saying that, you know, I apologize, or, you know, she made me do it, I've already dug myself in.
Yeah. Any answer that doesn't rebut the presumption is basically entry into the controversy. You know, you could just start playing that song by Prince because you'd be right in there. Now, for example, if you're wearing a blue shirt, Adam, and I came along to you and I said, "Hey, that's a really nice red shirt you've got there," and you said, "No, it's actually blue." You know, all of a sudden, again, we're in controversy again. You know, and then once you get into controversy, the only way that can be adjudicated is by a third party. So that's where the judge steps in, and that's when it becomes public.
Yeah. Wow. Rabbit hole's big. So did that answer your question, Eric?
Yeah. Then I mean,
sorry, did I miss?
No, really. Go ahead.
Sorry, did I miss a couple of things there? What were the other questions that you had?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's really just without the consent, the recognition of the master, there's no real freedom. So, I mean, that's some of the people that I know are now trying to go through this in the U.S., and we're trying to see kind of what the outcome will be. But if it's unrebutted and it just stands, then, you know, down the road, I guess the question is basically staying out of that controversy is the key then. So
yeah, it is. It is. It's taking the position of being the principal creditor over the straw man, and you know, I actually heard recently that if you could actually appoint the original person or office who created the birth certificate, I guess the person in charge of whoever issued your birth certificate. Obviously, they might not be around now, but if you could appoint that office as the fiduciary for your birth certificate and actually give it back to them, you know, keep a copy for yourself, but give them, because you're still the holder in due course. If anybody knows anything about negotiable instrument certificate, and actually give it back to them, you know, keep a copy for yourself, but give them, because you're still the holder in due course. If anybody knows anything about negotiable instruments or promissory notes, you'll notice that a great deal of power and obligation is transferred to somebody when you give them a promissory note or, you know, an instrument. And so at the moment, you are the holder in due course of a copy, you know, an authorized copy of your birth certificate. So yeah, perhaps if there was a way to actually appoint them as fiduciary, and a fiduciary, for those of you who don't know what that is, a fiduciary is somebody who's basically acting on your behalf, who you've authorized, to